I think the camp or the theater company is kind of in the rounds of putting a young child on the spot for choosing that. A 5-year-old girl going into a girl's bathroom where there's a man that identifies as a girl, that little girl hasn't been around those parts. Until your parts match, relieving yourself via your parts, I think that should still be what defines whether you go into a guy's bathroom or a girl's bathroom.
One of the things that we all need to do, no matter who you are, where you are, and what you are, is, maybe once in a while listen to the other side. It's called empathy. An email or a tweet from a guy named Dave. Good morning, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. So, hey, maybe we'll all learn something here. So what did you hear yesterday that you wanted to correct?
As a parent of a trans child, I think a lot of the things that were said yesterday were a little off base. Most misunderstandings and mistakes concerning people's views on transgender and non-binary kids can end up becoming really powerful opportunities to learn and grow.
That's exactly right, because it's like, wait, if we hadn't had this conversation, you wouldn't have called in and given us a chance to hear your side of things.
What everyone was really talking about was the drama camp's efforts to be inclusive of transgender and non-binary kids. But, at no point did anybody name the population of kids you were talking about using the words transgender or non-binary. When phrases like boy who identifies as a girl or girl who thinks they are a boy are used, in addition to those being inaccurate, it furthers the misconception that trans kids don't exist or that their identities are somehow false or less valid, and obviously that isn't the case. There's a misconception that by asking a kid's pronouns, educators are somehow becoming kind of gender detectives or initiating these really personal conversations with kids, and what really is going on is that these educators are asking you to tell them the way they want to be treated in an effort to make sure that their gender doesn't get in the way of the learning that's going to occur.
Do you tell the person that's a teacher, counselor, whatever it is, what the situation is, just to clarify everything from the beginning?
Parents of trans kids are pretty nervous about the world and how their kids are going to be treated in the environments when they go in.
Definitely.
When we're registering our daughter for something, we look for clues that wherever she's going to go is going to end up being safe for her. And one of the clues we look for is things like the pronoun go-round or inclusion statements on the website. By creating that space for my daughter to be open about who she is, by being inclusive of her, they're sending a signal to other kids that that's kind of the expectations for behavior while they're here at camp. If they don't want to explain about trans identities to their kids, then they're free to not participate in places where that's going to be discussed or not to participate in places of public accommodation like public schools.
Dave, before you had a daughter who is transgender, did you feel this exact same way? Let's go back to 18-year-old Dave.
This was all new information for us. As a parent, you learn quickly, and you try and do what you can to make sure that your child isn't.
And then you become super aware. It's your kid, so I get how you will now become hyper aware of something like that. The reason that I bring that up is because I appreciate you not going after this show and this radio station for, you could have, because here's what I think we all evolve. 10 years ago, Barack Obama said, I think marriage should be between a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wouldn't say that now.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 years ago, he did, and he's evolved.
And he's allowed to.
And he's allowed to, and it was allowed to be wrong. So isn't it interesting, Dave? You'll hear one side, or you'll have one opinion, and then you're allowed to be wrong and evolve.
I appreciate all of you taking the time to kind of look at these things a little bit closer and hear from someone who's living it on a daily basis.
I appreciate the fact that you didn't raise your voice, and you don't seem like that kind of person anyway, but I think that you can call it patient impatience.
My response, too, is also a response to you being open to learning more. I think when people kind of hunker down and get stuck in their opinions, that's when the conversation can't take place.